Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And today we are going to talk about the 2020 election and the possibility of a Trump victory with a magnitude that a lot of people are just not expecting, maybe not even myself. But first, I want to tell you guys about my friends over at My Patriot Supply. Friends, we're fast approaching what many to believe the true second wave of COVID-19, and this may be even worse than the first. On top of that, our nation's political uncertainty and civil unrest will impact every area of your life. Are you ready? Another round of quarantines and shortages may be on the way, and those that know what's coming are using today to prepare for the worst. That's why I strongly recommend My Patriot Supply, the only source I personally use and trust for my emergency food preparedness plan, and you can too. Right now, save $100 off a full 4-week supply of nutritious meals that supply 2,000 calories a day to save your life when panic or disaster hits and food disappears again from your local grocery store. Saving $100 is impossible to pass up, especially now. So go to preparewithreadygoal.com and get ready now. That's preparewithreadygoal.com. There is no time to lose. Do it now. And today, we have to talk about voting methods and how they may impact the 2020 election, talking about voting by mail versus voting in person, and why Trump may have a better shot at victory than what a lot of people are expecting. So, according to the Economist poll, 41% of Trump supporters plan on voting on Election Day. So that means that 41% of the vote that's going to go for Trump is actually going to come in on Election Day. Only 16% of the votes that are going to come in for Biden are going to come in on Election Day. Therefore, 84% of Biden's votes will have been cast before November 3rd, and Democrats have cast only around 35 to 40 million votes so far, according to TargetSmart, and there are just 5 days left to go. Very interesting developments here. And we're going to go through and we're going to do the math. We're going to look at several swing states here, but it's very important before we do anything to look at Florida. Once again, our daily update of the early vote in Florida. Republicans, again, that 650,000 vote target for the Democrats has been cut to 178,000 votes or so, and that is going down. We may even get below 150 before the election. Obviously, Democrats will be able to send in mail-in ballots after the early vote deadline ends. That may begin to increase in the first couple days of November, but either way, very good showing for Republicans in the early vote. In the in-person only vote, they are actually winning in Miami-Dade, Palm Beach County, Hillsborough. They really narrowed the margin there in Duval. They may actually overtake the Democrats in Duval in terms of the in-person early voting, which is a good sign, especially because so many Trump supporters are going to be voting on Election Day. And look, there's 514,000 super voters left for the Republicans. Can't say the same thing with the Democrats here. So it's ultimately shaping up to be a very good early vote for Trump in the state of Florida, and I think he has a really good chance at winning. I will be doing my final presidential election prediction video on November 2nd, where I will discuss all of the states, and I will be giving exact percentage margins of predictions, and we're going to see exactly how it goes. So in terms of the TargetSmart data, nationally by modeled party, again, this does leave some votes off the table. Not all states are counted, but most of the states are. What it's showing is that there have been nearly 70 million votes cast. However, TargetSmart does only track 43 states. If you want to look at this other website that tries to track them all, it shows that roughly 80 million votes have been cast. Again, in 2016, 135 million or so ballots were cast in the election. So this time, I'm assuming that the turnout's going to be higher. We may get to 150 million, and that would mean that roughly around 55% of the vote is already in. The big question here is, what about the outstanding mail-in ballots? There's 40 million. They're all not going to likely be submitted at this point. It doesn't exactly seem like that will be the case, especially as a lot of people that may have requested a mail-in ballot, specifically on the right, have decided to either vote on Election Day or potentially vote in person. But we'll have to wait and see. But if the return rate is much lower than expected, like it was in the Florida congressional primary, like it was in the Arizona congressional primary, it may shape up to be a very rough night for the Democrat Party here. And I did want to look at the total vote here, because looking at this and assuming that just 16% of Biden's vote is going to come on Election Day, it's not looking to be too good for him. Even if you did give him a good 2/3 of all of the mail-in ballots that are outstanding, give him another 20 to 30 million votes, he may not exactly be hitting his target. And the fact is, almost half, around 41% of Republicans are going to be voting on election day. So there are a lot more outstanding ballots that are going to be favoring the Republicans and favoring the Democrats. Obviously, when you look at the mail-in ballots here, the Democrats are likely not going to return all 39 million of them, but let's say they return around 2/3 or 3/4, they return around 30 million mail-in ballots, and they do split Democrat 2-1. Right now, it would be safe to assume, even assuming that they would have 37 million votes cast so far, that they would only get to 57, and then the 16% of that would be voting on election day, they would roughly get to around 70 million ballots. And if you look at the Republicans, and the Republican votes are coming in, give the Republicans another 10 million potentially coming in mail-in ballots, yet assuming there is a 2-1 split or so from that point forward, as well as additional early voting. Let's say they would get to 40 million, but then you have 40% of the vote outstanding. That means Republicans would easily be able to get above 70 million votes as well. So it's going to be a very high turnout election, but it seems like the race is shaping up to be one that's going down the wire, not one where the Democrats are going to be leading nationwide at the end of the day by 10% or 17% in Wisconsin, as Nate Plastic's poll from ABC had said yesterday. So looking at this, we can go down through the individual states, and you can see that there are a lot of votes that are outstanding. Out of the state of Arizona, assuming that there would be roughly around 3 million votes cast this cycle, Republicans are catching up. They're only down by less than 20,000, and the RCP aggregate right now in Arizona is actually even. This is a state that's going down the wire. Trump is doing rallies there. He's energizing his base. So either way, it's looking like Arizona potentially could be favoring Donald Trump as more mail-in ballots are coming in. We already covered Florida. The state of Iowa as well, they do track registrations by party, so the model party one I do expect to be more accurate here. They have 808,000 votes that have already been cast. The Democrats have a lead of just 54,000 votes as it currently stands right here. And in the 2016 election, there was roughly 1.5 million votes that were cast in total. So it just seems like roughly half the vote is in. The vote that's yet to come in is going to favor Republicans. So you would usually think that Republicans would be doing better than expected in a place like Iowa, even though the polls don't really add up with what the early vote is currently showing. Out of the state of North Carolina, there have been 3.5 million votes cast. A lot of people are expecting there to be close to 5 million when it's all said and done. Republicans are narrowing the gap. The modeled party for North Carolina, I do expect it to be a little bit more accurate than registered party, because a lot of the unaffiliated voters actually do break Republican, as the state does have a massive Democrat voter registration advantage. Again, keep in mind the unaffiliated voters are not necessarily independents. A lot of them may self-identify as Republicans when you do track party ID. But either way, Republicans just down 100,000 votes or so in the state of North Carolina. Potentially, it could be even less than that depending on where the unaffiliateds are going. But either way, if there's 1.5 million votes left and Republicans are drastically breaking in favor of voting in person, that is going to change really quickly, and Republicans may actually be in the lead before we know it come Election Day out of the state of North Carolina. Another state to watch is Pennsylvania, because a lot of Republicans in Pennsylvania don't trust the vote-by-mail system. Democrats have a massive lead so far. As expected, they lead by roughly 700,000 votes. But keep in mind, that's out of 1.9 million votes cast, and in Pennsylvania back in the 2016 election, there was roughly around 6 to 7 million votes that were cast. So there's a lot of votes that are outstanding. We don't know exactly where those votes are going, but you see in a lot of these swing states, there's a lot of votes that are left out on the table here. And it seems like if they come in on Election Day, assuming that they're majority Republican, Republicans are going to be in a much better shape to win than originally expected. Also, look at Nevada here. Republicans are down by just 10,000 votes right now, 870,000 votes cast. There's still a couple 100,000 votes or so that will be cast on Election Day. A lot of those will favor the Republicans. Does that mean Trump is going to win the state of Nevada? I don't know, but I think it's looking up more so than it did in years past. Look at 2016. Democrats had a much bigger lead despite Democrats utilizing the VBM system a lot more this time. So we'll have to see if Democrats are cannibalizing their voters And if that is the case, Republicans could be in a very good shape to win on election night. Again, it's all speculative. We could be wrong about it, but it seems like the only thing consistent in the polling is that a lot more Republicans and Trump supporters plan on voting on election day. Biden supporters, you can't exactly say the same thing for them. And so far, it's looking good, but it's really going to hinge on whether the Democrats return all of these mail-in ballots, but assuming that 75% of them get returned at a 2-to-1 Democrat advantage, Republicans are going to have an easy night if that's the case, but we'll really just have to wait and see. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media, become a member, donate to the Patreon, or subscribe. Star links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.